Hello? Hello?
Podcast Network Asia. Hey guys, welcome back to Small Talk, small conversations with huge impact, now exclusively on Spotify, powered by Anchor. If you want to learn more about podcasting, go ahead and check out anchor.fm. And before anything else, I would like to thank each and every one of you for clicking on this episode, for joining us here today. If this is your first time, then I'm so happy that you're here. I hope you go check out the other amazing episodes that we have so that you can learn more about yourself, learn more about personal development. And if you are an avid listener of the podcast, if this is your end time listening to the podcast, then I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that you're still invested in yourself, in self-improvement. And so today is kind of a bit of an orthodox episode because we're going to take a break from all the motivation stuff and all the personal development. Well, I still believe that this is personal development because right now our focus, and I know you love the listeners, you guys, I know you love this topic so much. We're going to talk a lot about relationships, and we have a very special guest right now. Our guest for today is a voice artist and a digital events host. She is a radio girl at Q Radio 105 FM. She is a content creator just like me, and she has over 450,000 followers on TikTok. And of course, she is the host of the podcast Paano Kung, which is a podcast that I absolutely love. Let's all welcome to the show, DJ Joelle. Hi.
Oh my gosh! We finally made it here, actually in the same space. O, diba? First meeting dito na. Hindi nasa screen. Gusto nating bonggahan, diba?
Wala nang virtual. Diretso na sa
Thanks
in-person.
so
But
much.
thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon here with me. I know bumiyahe ka pa, but I'm still really grateful kasi I want to learn more about
my
you and the
gosh.
work that you do. And so I want to start off by learning, how did you get into, giving advices in general, especially about relationships and
I find
love?
that's so crazy talaga. It's so weird when people say that you give love advice, or people would say love guru then. And I'm like, hold up, wait, isn't there like something that I have to kind of like take some course or whatever? But what led me to that is my general katangahan first when it comes to love. It really is that. And I think it started on TikTok, where I shared the video of me and my boyfriend just meeting on Bumble and everything. And then people started asking like, buti pa yung iba may pag-asa sa Bumble, I'm gonna give up or whatever in a dating app, ganyan. And sabi ko, don't give up. And then here are like tips just for fun, because we were just playing around with TikTok then. And then from there, from trying to just give tips on how to lande online, how to flirt when you're dating in dating app, nagkaroon ng mas marami pang other kinds of like tips to lande. And then one question at a time, it just connected to deeper and deeper questions. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can answer that. Oh, wow, I can still answer. Wow, this is getting deeper and deeper. And I guess a lot of people just were able to resonate with the things, I would say, with the stories then. And it led to that, one question and another, which hanggang sa kumonect to Paano Kung podcast as well.
Yeah, I love that.
Ganun siya.
Grabe yung journey na yun. From just answering one question after another, and now
Yeah.
you have like a fan base. I know you have like some groups for your podcast as well. But before we dive into your
Yeah. Oh my
podcast,
gosh, yeah.
I wanna know, because when you answer your questions, they're not just like principles and ideas. You sometimes talk about, or mostly talk about, your experiences. So I want to ask, saan galing yung mga hugot na yun?
Lahat.
Like how long have you been doing or like dating or going in relationships?
Well, ano ba? How long have I been dating? I started making lende. Like, ano ba? My first ever crush, I was 4 years old. If we go like way back. First crush, 4 years old. Bawal pa ako magka-boyfriend early on. I think my first boyfriend, I was allowed na ng mga 16. Ganon. And then, but I've always had crushes. Like, it's just always been so much fun. I blame my mother. Sorry, Mom. For all those Disney films that we watched, tsaka yung mga chick flicks, Y2K stuff growing up. So it's always just been so much fun, the concept of dating. So I had my boyfriend, and then that did not last really long. A lot of heartbreaks here and there. And ano yun, mga 2007 officially. Tapos it was a string of all kinds of relationships, being in one relationship after the other kasi may abandonment issues yung girl natin dito. I was afraid to be alone, anxious attachment style, ganon. And then, but I was always in a relationship. I was only fully able talaga to date around like 2 years after 6-year relationship ended for me. And I realized, ang dami kong landi bucket lists. ang dami pang nasa landi bucket list ko that I just wanted to try. And I was just fully ready to experience anything and put my heart on the line and just be called tanga by my friends. And so I guess it helped in that way. I mean, looking back during that time, it didn't really make sense. I'm like, oh, it's just dealing with this ganyan. But like looking back, you're fine, girl. We need this. It's content.
Now they let you to create a lot of content.
Pala siya. Ganon.
Yeah, so yung concept na wag tanga. How did you come up with that phrase?
It was my best friend who would always tell me that. Like, parang nag-trigger happy ako when I started dating around and just having fun. And then when I would always just go for people that my best friend didn't necessarily approve of. Kahit hindi lang, kahit even jowa level. I think except for my boyfriend now. Other than that, my best friend did not like anyone that I dated. And like, I guess that says a lot. We've been friends since like 2003. So she's seen everyone that I've dated. And she didn't really like them. My choice talaga, very questionable. My choices ko. So she would always tell me that. I'm like, be, ganito, may namita akong ganito, ganyan. Ito gagawin ko. Pupunta ako dito, ganyan. And she's like, okay lang, sige, be, basta wag tanga all the time. And then when I connected it lang, when I started doing TikTok, giving advice to people who would ask questions or just actually answering their questions, really. It just worked as a nice loop na parang, I'm giving you all this, do whatever you want, because like I have no moral ascendancy to tell you, don't run away from this person. I will never tell you that. If you want to do that, go. Pero kung gusto mo magpakatanga, go. Up to you also. But, you can have that choice then. So yun siya.
I love it. So parang nakuha mo pala siya sa best friend mo. It was a reminder that someone gave to you, and now you remind people na wag maging tanga. But I know na yung mga taong magagaling mag-advise, usually they see things in a different perspective, or they've actually gone through some bad shit, bad stuff.
Yes.
So I want to know, what's your wag tanga moment, but at the same time, what's your
tanga moment?
Pinaka-tanga moment. I can't think of a better phrase to ask.
Ganun naman talaga eh. Kasi I mean, you want to be smart. You'd like to think you're a smart person. Yun naman. Like, it's not the nicest thing naman to say, ang tanga mo, ganyan. But it kind of just encapsulates all the feelings you have when, you've got everything figured out in life and in work, in your career and stuff. But like, when it comes to love, alam mo yun, you always have that friend who's so good. Tapos pagdating sa tao, pag relationships na, oh my God, bakit ka ganyan?
Were you that friend?
Yeah, always.
Oh, wow.
I was that. It's like, bakit ganun? Bakit ito yung nangyayari sa'yo? Bakit ka laging heartbroken? Bakit mo pinipili na masaktan sa mga taong to? And honestly, I can't say which one's my pinaka because they're really all up there. It was all different kinds of experiences. Now, I'm not like talking shit to my all my exes. Like, we had our own issues. We were all young. We did not handle things really well. I always have to say that. It's not all, hindi ako nagpapaka-victim. May tanga moments ako as someone who also had like poor coping mechanisms, didn't want to face certain things. So it's just like a mishmash of all those like decisions that just contributed to who I am now. Parang ganon. So yun.
That's lovely. But now you're happily in a relationship. I see your...
Yeah, so far. Ayaw na nating magsabi, oo, sa'yo lang. Alam ng jowa ko yun.
So far. But yeah, so I want to ask, because you talk about relationships from the past. Na okay, nagpakatanga ka nga before, but now you're doing much better.
I'd like to think I'm doing much better.
Well, we'll eventually see. But from the videos that
Yes.
you post, like, okay, you guys really seem to be happy.
Yes,
and I love
definitely.
that. I love the vibe that you're showing off. But I want to know what's kind of the different thing that you're doing now. So from your past relationships.
Well, actually, I think the biggest shift for me, at least now, is like just knowing that things can change. Like, even if magpakasal na kayo and everything, even if you're together for like, what, 50 years, things can end. You don't know what will happen. You can wake up one day and it'll end. And I think that's what guides me and grounds me, just knowing that it can. And given that, instead of being afraid or avoiding parang the inevitable, is just do the best I can with what I can do now. Parang ganun siya. And hindi na nakadepend on this person yung sense of self-worth ko, my happiness, and my, like, me being able to just live life the way I want to. So yun, it's a lot of, totoo talaga yung chismis when people say that the moment you stop finding, or the moment where you're like, you know, okay na ako, I'm fine, I'm good. Tsaka darating and universe gonna be like, wala. So it's either, sure ka, okay ka na, eto. Or, talaga ba? Sige nga, you learned your lesson. Alright, ganito. I don't know which one it is, but it's been pretty good. And what I always say, even at the start, parang it's going so great. I don't know. I stop myself from saying I don't know what I did right this time, because I know I know I worked hard doing this properly. I did what I had to do. I had to heal through my own like fears. Nawala yung train of thought ko. It just
No,
went-
but I love that. I think with what you said about the universe testing
sorry,
you.
alam ko na.
Okay.
It's I will never settle for anything less than this na. Parang I know na how I want to be treated. And if this doesn't work out man, down the road, next tomorrow or next year, 10 years from now, I know that I can't settle for anything less. I'd rather be alone than have to deal with some bare minimum thing again. Parang ganun. Yun
Okay,
lang.
okay. I want to comment on that because I really believe that is absolutely true. When you kind of stop looking for like love in relationships, that's when sure, okay, here it is.
There you go. Here you go.
Yeah, because one thing, I think this is the first time I'm gonna put it out there. I'm actually seeing someone
Yeah, I was
right
gonna
now.
ask, kamusta na ba puso mo?
I'm actually seeing someone right now, and I'm so happy. But the thing is, it's not really grounded on, I think this is gonna last. I think this is gonna be it. But I just really enjoy the company right now. And of course, you'd want to go the distance with
Yeah,
this person.
ideally, yeah, right.
But you just kind of like detach from that idea. And so in return, you enjoy the relationship more because now you're just present with it. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, you're not just scared. Like, it's so, parang, things may happen down the road, pero sige, bahala na si future me to deal with that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna enjoy what's happening now. I don't wanna ruin it by all kinds of thoughts that can ruin whatever's happening right now. And yay! Yay to happy puso. Happier puso, rather.
Ayan. So, yay to happy puso, of course. But I want to know, what did you do before nung mga times na, okay, parang ayoko na palang magpakatanga. Sige, sundin ko na yung advice, no? Wag, ako na pala, i-embody ko na yung wag tanga. What was the process like?
Well, I really just reached like super rock bottom. So I was crawling out of this long-term relationship, entangled myself in other complicated relationships with other people that I shouldn't be. And alam ko na talaga na hindi eh. But I'm like, hindi, sige, okay lang, masaya kahit na masakit. Sige. Even like old lovers that I knew were not good for me, came back. Lahat sila yung sabay-sabay lang that I knew just wasn't good. Pero tinanggap ko. Kasi like, wala naman na akong bearing dito. Wala naman akong jowa, wala akong anything. This is just me and my katangahan. And obviously, all those people didn't really work out right. It just didn't because I knew that. I saw it coming. But it just, at some point, nag-explode lang lahat in my face. And I was like, wow, I do not love myself at all. Why am I doing this to myself? Bakit ko hinayaan to run myself down to this, like, lower than low? And yun, it was just some kind of like shift there. Okay, something needs to change. And this was sakto na rin ng pandemic. Like, you come from a long-term relationship. It's not like, someone na tanga, I can't just be like, cut, break, bye-bye. No, we
Yeah.
had a lot of residual feelings. Residual, parang, let's try it. Are we gonna fix this? Because I was also scared to live like alone. Kasi, oh my gosh, kung hindi na to nag-workout, saan na ako mapapadpad? Will anyone else love me after? Mga ganyan. But, well, the pandemic actually saved me because it was just the final, like, end to our like complicated relationship, me and my ex at that time. Parang kami na hindi. It was so weird. But because of the pandemic, we didn't get to see each other. I just had to deal with everything by myself. All my usual coping mechanisms. What? Inom, party, labas, meet other people. Girl, ano? What did you wanna do? No, you were stuck at home dealing with that. So it felt like it was like 2 months of like just being by myself, and I didn't know. Wala, I had to face it. I wrote, I had like a journal of every day. I'm here, I'm crying, wasak na wasak. Ito, iniyak. As in, hinarap ko lahat. And I went crazy Googling how to move on the right way. Went through Reddit, watched all kinds of moving on TED Talks. Lahat ng mga Instagram accounts ko, I fixed it. I made sure that I followed like yung mga healing Instagram accounts that just will guide you. Anything na pwede mong kapitan. Tapos yung bookmarks ko, punong-puno na ng mga words just to remind myself na okay, tama to. And then multiple inumans and cryings, just crying to friends just to remind me na okay, this is right. Tama to na ginawa nyo. Wag ka na bumalik. This isn't right anymore. And then you also met Sanaya recently, right? I also fell into talaga kasi I dove into it. I also explored theta healing.
Wow.
And instead of doing one session, nag-class na ako.
Kay Sanaya.
Not with Sanaya, but with Maisha. But I enrolled in Third Eye Wellness, her wellness center. And instead of just having one session, I just went through the class to learn how to do the healing on myself. And it was so interesting because at the first day, I was like, parang syempre, may testing on how do you do the, like, they teach you how to work through the process of theta healing. And syempre, my live demo. And then the question then was like, what do you want to work on? And then at the time, I was like, I just want to know what's wrong with me. Hindi naman scarred yung childhood ko. Like, I look at my family, like, pretty solid naman. Okay naman, I have a great relationship with my family and stuff. But where did I go wrong? And then, by just because the universe is like that, they chose me to be tested on. I do not know my classmates. First day, yun palang, and like, I was like, I just want to know what I was doing wrong with my life. Why do I let people like walk over me in all aspects, whether it's love, in friendship, or whatever? Why? And then, 20 minutes in, I'm bawling over Zoom in front of people I don't know from all over the world. And then just getting to the root of all my issues and as to why I would allow these things to happen in my life. And it freed me. Definitely. Just finally taking back my power, and parang nothing happened to me. Nothing's wrong with me. It was just like a series of choices that I had to go through. Also certain experiences that I had to see and understand just to be who I am now. And once I took ownership for my choices, it's not there. Hindi kasi siya yung loko-loko lang. It's because I allowed it too, girl. I mean, hello. So from shifting lang into why is this happening to me to the fact that life is happening for me, dun siya nag-shift. And I think that was just the power that shifted in me.
Did that happen during one session of the healing? Because first of all, I'm so blown away by the fact that you tried theta healing. Mm-hmm. Did that happen with just one session?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. It was so quick, and I was like, okay. Like, so many things just made sense na, and then it dealt with my fear of being alone, and it went like so deep into my childhood. Tapos parang, and to finally just be able to make sense of the experiences in your life. And you think kasi when you think about trauma, it's like, binugbog ka lang ba forever, iniwan ka. But it's not just that. Yes. I mean, even as a child, any kind of feeling is magnified, like. So it was it. It doesn't feel like much as an adult when you look back, but as a child, that was sad. Yung parang ganung things. So yun.
I think I'm reading this book by Dr. Oprah Winfrey called "What Happened to You," and so the thesis of the book is we keep on asking what's wrong with us, but we should ask instead is the question, what happened to us? Because all the time, every issue that we have growing up, stem from one experience. And sabi mo nga, hindi ito yung mga big abuse lang na nakikita natin na totally maling-mali. Pero
Yes,
yung mga,
of course,
merong mga mini traumas na hindi natin napapansin na, oh, that meant a lot to us when we were children, and now it affects our relationship. Now, I want to learn because I want to know, because you said in one session you were crying your eyes out. You were understanding yourself. Moving forward, what changed?
Wow. Well, I think then my biggest fear was, at least like after going through, like going into deep, it was like an hour of me just sobbing and just crying and just being a mess. But it came to the point, it ended at me just saying that I was afraid to not matter. And part of the process then of data healing at the time was to just remind myself that I do matter. There is a reason why I'm here, and being able to understand that and be free from the fact that it doesn't matter whether or not I'm loved, or I mean I am loved, heck loved, I'm super loved, but it doesn't matter if like I die alone, because we all die alone in theory, like we really, unless you're lucky and you like kasabay mo yung jowa mo, pwede sige, but for the most part we enter this world by ourselves, we exit by ourselves, so parang wala na yung fear also of just not mattering. And because I got to like set myself free from that, suddenly things didn't matter anymore. And then I focused instead on like, okay, instead of focusing on the loss of losing this relationship, I have so much more solid friends, and all that, they've always just been there waiting for me to be like, okay, ayoko na. Ayoko na, makatanga, Gina, tara. So it just brought me back to so much love that I already have. So it went into the vibration of gratitude. Thus, I think from there lang, I was able to say no na to the people I knew that weren't right for me. Parang, I started talking na rin kasi to people. Kasi, pandemic, bored, Bumble, whatever. And it shifted so much. Kasi a year before that, it was more like, yeah, game, let's see you. Match tayo, okay, kita tayo. Let's date, let's see if we vibe. If we don't, okay, bye. As in, I really wanted to like, siksik that in. But then, it was more mindful during like the height of the pandemic. Sabi ko, hindi ko kaya madami. Sige, ano lang, onte-onte. Let's just do like, because I won't be able to see them anyway, so I didn't want to waste that energy. So, chika lang. And then, I could see the difference in how I treated the people I met na. Wala nang sense of like, I need to win you over, or I don't have to like, parang wala nang ganon. If we don't vibe this way, if you don't like me as much as I think I like you, okay, great, it's fine. Then I guess we just don't work. We're just not it. And then eventually, and then sakto, I met my boyfriend now, like saktong palabas na I was finishing that class from Theta Healing. He was already kind of in my life, but it wasn't something I was expecting na. Parang, yeah, I'm talking to this guy, it's fine, ganyan. But then, there was already that sense of like, ano to? So, anong point na itong taon to sa buhay ko na ngayon? Why is it, okay na ako eh. Di ba sabi ko, pwede na eh. Pwede na ako mamatay by myself eh. Dumating. And even through that, I was like, ano ba to? Should I just like let this person go? Kasi sabi ko, okay na ako. But you don't let someone go that quickly.
I think that's my next question, because now you change your vibrations, which is, I really love the jargon here that we're talking about vibrations, frequencies, mindfulness, right? So you kind of change your vibration into this gratitude. And we all know that it's a much better frequency than, we're always fear. Like fear, like looking out and just hoping and hoping and hoping and wishing like mindlessly. But now you're very mindful, and then you're very grateful. Do you have like some tangible things that you saw in this person that, okay, let's give it a try? Because now that you're okay, you don't need anyone, you don't want anyone. Paano mo nasabi na, okay, let's give it a try?
He was the most meh person. Like when we first met, it was like, okay, parang I did it. It wasn't some, oh my God, I'm cute na talaga sa start. Like, I mean, he's so cute. I was like, super crush kita. Okay, baka isipin mo hindi kita. But it was more like, people talk about that a lot on like TikTok and wherever, yung parang that sense of calm. It wasn't butterflies. It wasn't kaba. It was just like, Okay. And then we were just what? We were doing an errand date at the time, so it was just grocery. And I was like, there were just little things. I was like, okay. Pero nothing. Sige, ano lang. It was very friend lang. It just felt like so meh. And it grew very slowly, but like he was checking the things that I like. I enjoyed talking to him. Yung mga bagay that I said I wanted for myself when I wrote like a future me letter to myself like way back. But it wasn't like, oh, okay siya, may ganito, cute din. And then talking until I realized, oh, wait, parang nagpaplano na ako for parang okay to, I can see him fitting into my life much better than anyone else I have ever thought of, like, or ever met. So, and it didn't come as some fireworks. It wasn't fireworks. It wasn't butterflies, as people would say. It was just like a slow refill. Parang nag-refill ka lang ng water. Na calm, refreshing, and chill, and very mundane, but like, oh, I'm so quenched. Ooh, I'm so nourished. Yung ganun. That's parang, okay, this is great. This is nice. And yun nga, there weren't like moments of like overpromising of anything. And we're like, oh, let's just see, whatever. I like you. And it was very clear na, oh, we're dating. Oh, okay, we're doing this. You're not running away from whatever jargon of when I straight up din kasi ask, ano to, naglalandian ba tayo? Ano, kasi I have piles eh. I'm like, saan kita ilalagay dito? So it was like, no, I want to date you. I'm like, okay, let's date then. So ganun siya. And it's always just been consistently like that. Almost 2 years in, tapos living together a little over a year. Hindi pa kami nag-aaway. Nothing. It's been really peaceful. Like, dumating sa point na, bakit wala na akong drama sa buhay? Not that I am asking for it, but I've learned my lesson there already. But it's been pretty good, and I cannot even say how, like, it's just good. It's scary to say, pero okay na. Okay lang. Tinatanggap natin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ganon.
Oh my gosh, I'm so loving this conversation right now. All right.
So, may clock ka na parang 30 na to.
I want to ask, with the butterfly thing, with the fireworks, I totally agree with that. Ngayon, parang it's not that. And I just love how you portrayed it. Like, you know, the slowly refilling of the water bottle. And you know it's gonna nourish you.
Oo.
And the interesting thing is, 6 months, how long? And parang feeling mo, wala kayong away.
Well, yeah, we've been together almost 2 years na. Living together for a year and a half na. Wala.
Okay.
We cohabit and everything. It's been pretty smooth sailing, and I'm not used to it, honestly. It was like, what? Hindi pa rin kami nag-aaway? What? I'm actually moving in with a stranger that I met on the internet? Yung mga ganun pang mga bagay.
Okay, so how are you looking at it? I mean, of course, there are some differences between you and him.
Yeah.
How do you come to that point na you just don't argue about it? You just don't fight about it? Like, how does the conversation happen? Because for sure, you're still human.
Yeah,
sometimes
we're still, in essence, different people. Yeah.
Different people, and you have minsan ikaw mataas ang emotions mo, minsan siya mataas ang emotion. How do you handle those things?
It's crazy kasi it just matched, like, the things that, like, there are moments na parang, we're like, what? How long have you been doing that thing? How long have you, like, are you me? Am I attracted to you because you look like, para magkamukha tayo, magkapareho tayo ng, like, and even, like, friends who have met him, they're like, y'all are so the same. And I don't know if it's a good thing. It's kind of scary when you think about it. But I think values-wise, at least, it's really the same. And that's why it's been smooth sailing. Kasi what we want for ourselves, what we want moving forward, values are there. And I think as people din kasi, sanay din kaming mag-adjust. So in our past relationships, kami yung laging nag-a-adjust sa partners namin. So we're like, okay, so how does it work if two people who like adjusting are together? So pareho kami nag-a-adjust. I'm like, are you okay with this? No, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. I'm okay. We could just maybe do this differently. Tapos kung mayroong mga like a little more intense. I say intense so loosely about like a certain thing that has to be done sa bahay and hindi kami nagmamatch. I'm like, but it's like super pabebe lang. Ang pabebe nung request na no, it's not supposed to be like this. As in, ganun lang siya. It's corny, it's gross, but I would much rather take corny and gross over messy and crying all the time. Yeah. But I want to know, meron pa ring, kasi people might see this na, okay, I think that's a very boring relationship. What would you say about that? okay na ako sa ano eh. I've had my fill of crazy and heart-wrenching, nakakawala ng dignidad relationships. So I'm good with boring. I'm good with finally just coming home and feeling like I'm home. I don't want mess na in my life. Yeah, okay na eh.
Yeah.
But if you want that, then enjoy. It's fun. It's fun to get into that. But it'll get exhausting at some point and you might hate yourself. So I'm good. I'm good with boring.
I love that because, a bit of context as well. I came from a long-term relationship. We were together for 11 years.
Also, tagal mo rin.
Yeah, 11 years. And after that, I went on full-blown dating. Dating left and right.
Yung mga galing long-term talaga parang, ooh, hello world!
And ako tumigil na lang ako nung may ginost ako.
Okay, ikaw ng ghost.
Ako yung ng ghost. And then, hindi ko talaga kinaya na, oh my gosh, I'm hurting someone. And I can't have that, especially in this kind of field na, I'm really trying to be better and helping people to get better. It's going to be ironic and hypocritical if I, if I hurt someone.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I need to fix that. So I said to myself, magpo-focus na lang din ako on myself. Like, I don't want that anymore. No more relationships, no more kilig-kilig. And then, I started to meet better people. Now I'm seeing someone. I also feel the same way.
Yeah.
Like, we never fight. And it's crazy. At the point of, we were talking about something and we have this difference, right? And as we're talking, at the end of the conversation, we're like, this is so weird. We're not fighting. I'm not used to this. I'm not familiar with this. You also get that feeling?
Yeah, always. I'm like, what? We still really haven't argued. Totoo ba to? And you'd think kasi parang, at the start, maybe because we're just new. So ano pa lang to, ganyan. We've been through that honeymoon stage. Pero parang magkasama na kami sa bahay. We've worried about this. We've traveled a bit. We've gone through stressful situations. And we've been able to deal with it fine. I'm not saying that this will be how it will be forever. I'm sure at some point magkakatampuhan. But I think there's so much power kasi in knowing na if you're about to get your period, I'm like, I'm so cranky right now. Just it's not you. I'm just really cranky now on edge. It's just the understanding and not taking it personally. And attacking each other. I think that's like what's very important.
I love that. You mentioned earlier about values. What are some values that you think are very important in a healthy relationship?
Family, like having that sense of just having a good relationship with your family. I mean, not everyone naman, of course, is able to have that. And it's different, definitely. But it says a lot with how solid your ties are with your family. Or if not, you can't control naman where you're born with if you've had like abusive. It also depends on how you treat the people around you, your chosen family then. Also, like goals in life, syempre dapat match na we want the same things because in the long run, it won't work out naman if you parang wanna fly to New Zealand or whatever, like So parang same, nagmamatch din doon. The way we would like to raise kids if we were to ever have kids. Parang same lang din.
Yeah.
And money also, for the most part, it's also there. Parang, and I think those are really important to talk about. Tas mga ano lang din, our own fault. And knowing where we went wrong din in our past relationships. How sucky we were before. And how we are doing better now. And the fears that, this was what I did. I was terrible when it is. I treated this person really badly. Yung that awareness lang versus being like, they were just mean. It's all them. It's all their fault. They're evil. Like, not really. We made contribution.
I want to have a quick answer from you on that. Do you think that talking bad about your ex is a red flag?
Yeah, if you say if that's all you say na parang, she's crazy or they're crazy, grabe siya, sobrang sinaktan ako. But yes, while it is true, there's also the part of you that you could also set your foot down if you know how to set boundaries, which is hard to do. I didn't know that. I didn't know
the word boundary.
Right? I didn't know how to say, you can't talk to me like this kasi akala ko magbe-break. I was scared na maiwan and stuff like that. So, it takes two to tango all the time. So, if they treated you badly, quote unquote, like there are still some parts of you kasi that accepted it because for whatever reasons, and it's part of that journey din eh. So yun, it's just being able to be accountable for your shortcomings then. Ganon. I think that's very important.
What's your take on boundary setting? Like how important it is and how do you set it at the early stages of a relationship?
Talk about it, really. It's I've always been an open book as well. Halata na sa podcast ako. I've said, and TikTok, pretty much, I've just aired out all my katangahan in life. So it's that. It's never been something, I've always just been open about how I felt. So it scared some people before. Parang I'm like, I like you. I think you're pretty cool. And then matatakot sila, they'd run away. And I'm like, wow. Okay, hindi na ba ako magpapabebe? Joke lang, I won't be pabebe. So it's the openness lang. So from the start talaga, nilalatag ko na as much as possible. So I asked, how do you feel about certain things? What's important to you? Yung mga ganon, like beyond anong favorite number mo sa electric fan. I think it's really important to discuss these things. Like, at least not super early on, tipong first date pa lang, Diyos ko dahi. Pwedeng kilalanin niyo muna yung kung vibe kayo. But at least, like, if you both have the intention of dating, na, okay, I like you, I want to see this through. Mga ganon. And yeah, so I think it's important to put that early on. And then just see how both of you work through the boundaries, if they respect it, if it's okay, if it's a struggle for them also. Parang ganon. And nagkataon lang na swak lang din.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a firm believer of like your vibration. You essentially attract, the same frequency, the same vibration. And I'm so happy that you are attracting better people around you, not just, in relationships. I also feel like with your friends as well, you have a great vibe. I can see your aura just glowing and shining.
But
yeah, I want to touch my last points on the relationships part. So for people who are trying to prepare themselves, what do you have as your number one advice?
You have to be ready to be honest with yourself first. I think it's really having a lot of internal conversations. Yun eh. Because nothing's gonna happen. Like, you say you want a jowa, you say you're not looking for anything, you tell these people all kinds of things. But if you're not being honest with yourself, wala lang yan. Nothing. It'll come out, like, it'll manifest in the way that you feel it. So you really have to take time and be real with yourself. Ano ba legit yung mga kinakatakutan mo? And don't sweep it under the rug. You really have to face them. Kasi yun eh. I think that was the biggest thing that shifted for me. Yung having to face my fears, where I went wrong, if I want to fix it, and what am I willing to do to avoid these mistakes from happening again. It's that thing. And, it is a cliche for a reason that you have to work on yourself. You gotta love yourself. Because, like, you really will not be able to learn how to accept love that comes in if you don't love yourself, if you can't even open it up, and much more, you wouldn't be able to also give that if you can't even give it to yourself. So you need to understand how you feel, what you think for yourself before even looking around, because it'll just be the same people with different faces.
Wow. I love that. And it boils down to self-love, but you put it in a more, I could say, practical way. You gotta be honest with yourself.
Mahirap kasi nun eh.
Mahirap yun. Because when you are honest with yourself, now you get to see the parts that you were just trying to, brush off. Na ayaw mo talagang tignan, ayaw mo talagang aminin. But once you do, then you can start working on yourself, like the deep work, the inner work na kailangan mong gawin. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now, I want to talk about your podcast, Paano Kung podcast. How's the experience, and what was the main push for you to start a podcast?
Well, a lot of people have been asking. Being honest lang, like through TikTok. I mean, you can do 10 minutes na rin max. But I do like being able to just do like 30 to 60 second videos pa rin. So, syempre, bitin yung mga tao. So, they're always like, oh, can you make a podcast? Can you make a podcast? And it was always, there was a point in time kasi pag nagkukwentuhan kayo ng mga friends mo, like, oh, pwede tong podcast. And I'm like, pwede ba talaga? And I'm thinking, okay, people are asking, let's look for other ways then that we can like figure out how we can reach people and express ourselves then. So it took so long. I told myself I was gonna do that for like my 30th birthday last year. Didn't happen. Nag-brainstorm na ako, ganyan. Brainstorm lang, andyan. If I were to make something, I'ma do this. Ganun lang siya. Sin super basic latag. And then life happens. Hindi ko siya na-prioritize. And then PNA came in. They were like, hey, do you want to do a podcast? I'm like, oh, I was actually planning something. Here you go. So, nung nag-meeting pa lang, I was like, actually, medyo buo na yung concept ko. Nagkataon ito na siya. This is what I want to do. And yeah, it's been great. Still operating from the same way that I've created content on TikTok. Hindi ko naman pinala maging content creator.
Yeah.
So it's more like, oh, okay, so this works. We'll try to extend it here. Still based on questions from people on TikTok, and I've opened the platform as well, and it's just fascinating so far being able to relate. Kasi as an overthinker lang din, yun lang din naman yung mga pinag-iisip ko. Yun lang din naman sinasabi ko. So it's been nice. It's been a fun experience also.
What's the main concept of Paano Kung, and what's your like ultimate goal for the podcast?
Paano Kung podcast. It's, well, pretty much any question that starts with Paano Kung. It initially started with like lende and how to lende, since that is where I began. But there are a lot of Paano Kungs in life, and kung ma-extend tayo, we'll explore that further. And dahil nga connected yung paglalandi sa iba, sa your relationship with yourself, it's also part of that, like figuring out what you want for yourself. If you don't know what you want to do, ano yung mga pwede, so we answer that together. I don't necessarily give concrete answers either, because it's still up to the person listening kung anong direksyon na gusto nila sa buhay. Pero kung kailangan niya ng kasama mag-overthink, that's where you head on over to. That's yun.
I love that.
Yun siya.
May kasama kayo mag-overthink. Mahirap, di ba? Pag nag-overthink ka mag-isa, so mas okay na may kasama.
Yes, exactly.
But, thank you so much. I'm sure a lot of people would love your podcast. I love your podcast. Intro, the structure, and like the concept. It's amazing, and how you condense your thoughts. It's still compact. It's still so valuable in such a short time. And I'm really grateful that you are in the podcast space. I hope to see your podcast, soar up high in the podcast charts.
That means so much coming from you. Having had done this for a minute. And congratulations. Ano lang naman siya. Nakapag-commit na po siya sa Spotify.
Yeah. But thank you again for your time here. But before I let you go, I have two last questions to ask. The first one being, DJ Joelle, what is the worst advice that you have ever received?
Worst advice? Oh no, dapat pala nagpapaya ako doon. I saw your sumakto yung TikTok mong FYP. You asked someone that, and I was like, ano nga ba yung worst advice ko? Wait. Pause. Charot.
We're gonna pause.
Teka lang. Yung pumapasok lahat is like, wait lang. Honestly, pause lang. Gusto ko pag-isipan yan. Oh my God.
Take your time. I love asking this question because I think people get the wrong advices all the time.
Okay na. Unpause. Bilis lang. Yeah, worst advice I ever got was wag. Just don't. In anything. I think one of the things, I grew up scared. I grew up as a scared child, and it was just because pinagbawalan lang tayo to do a lot of things. I was the first girl, only girl, so it's like, don't do that, or it's just scary. It took me so long to even learn how to drive by myself just because I was scared, and that limited me from doing a lot of things that I would have wanted to do. So, yeah, I would say that would be the worst advice. No, wag. Just say no to everything in life. No, yeah.
I love that, because my thesis in life as well is to just try. If it's not so good decision, then adjust. If you got it right, then congrats.
Yeah. And anything, like yung parang wag kasi ma-judge ka, wag kasi magkakamali, wag kasi hindi ka pa handa dyan or anything. And I'm like, okay. And a lot of my time, a lot of my life, I just said, okay, sige, wag na lang. I'll just do this. Sige, okay lang, hindi na. I always just said no to myself all the time. And yeah, it helps now looking back kasi parang, yeah, this is what's gonna happen if you just say no to everything. But all the wonderful things that will happen when you say yes to many things with boundaries. While learning when to set boundaries here and there. But yeah, that would have to be the worst advice that I've ever gotten.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Now my last question is, of course, what is the best advice that you have ever received?
Oh my gosh. Mamamatay lang din tayong lahat. Yeah, it's really that. We're all gonna die. So it's that, it's that Billie Eilish audio track from TikTok lang that we're all gonna die. Nothing's gonna matter in the end. So just do what you want to do that makes you happy. So F it, right?
Yeah.
Yun siya. So And syempre, yung wag tanga din. So, wag. Pero wag tanga would be the smartest.
Ang ganda nun,
I guess if we're going on literary here, worst advice, wag. Pero best advice, wag tanga. It means just go do things, but like, nowhere to stop.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and your valuable information and your experiences as well. I really appreciated this time with you, and I hope I could get more time to talk with you on your podcast. I think we have a lot of topics na mag-enjoy tayo to have more
gosh. I will, pag nag-extend yan, I was like, okay, paano na ako makapasok ng guest? Kasi pinaplot natin yan. But yes, I'd love to have that.
Yeah, but before we go, please invite people to listen to your show. And if you have any events or people would love to know more about your work, where can they find you?
Hi. Nahiya lang.
Ngayon ang
hi. Hello. So, yes, I do have a podcast called Paano Kung on Spotify. Or sa ngayon, but we'll see. Paano Kung, it's a baby podcast. Still a lot of things I'm trying to figure out with you and within myself. I also have a radio show, Q Radio 105 FM. I'm there Monday to Friday, 7 to 10 a.m. And I'm at Joelle everywhere. JoelleOhwell. Yes. Yun pa lang naman so far. May tour. Charot, wala akong tour. Joke lang yan.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who still listening or watching on Spotify. In case you don't know, we have a video option on Spotify right now. So you can watch us having this amazing conversation. And if you're just listening, you might not see how animated we are with this conversation. But I hope you go check it out. And if you are listening on Spotify, well, I'm exclusively on Spotify, so it's the only place that you can listen to the podcast. So please, if you like this one, go ahead and give this podcast a 5-star rating. We have reached 1,000 rating rating lang, but it helps the podcast a lot. So if you have a few minutes of your time, few seconds, just go ahead and give this podcast a 5-star rating and go ahead and share this on your social media platform. If you are going to share it on Instagram, do not forget to tag me at Alec Cuenca. DJ Joelle, what's your Instagram?
Oh, Joelle.
Joelle, and tag Joelle. Share your comments, share your questions, and share your questions sa mga Paano Kung, and hopefully you get picked by DJ Joelle and you got and ma-answer yung iyong tanong sa kaniyang podcast. But again, guys, thank you so much. Again, this is Small Talk. Small conversations with huge impact, now exclusively on Spotify, powered by Anchor. And my name's Alec Cuenca. I'll talk to you guys next episode. Peace.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia, the hosts of the program, or other programs of the network. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.